This next video will show you how to run the stock status report. From the main menu, you're going to click on Reporting, Inventory/Purchase Orders, and Stock Status. This will bring you into the stock status report. Again, we have report names, so if you wanted to name this report and save it, you could type in a name to the right of report name. Go ahead and select your parameters on the report and click on Save Report. The default output method is always PDF. That's just report format, so you can view it. If you click on the drop down, there's also Excel and CSV. We're going to choose PDF. There are 4 different tabs on this report. There's Report Options, Report Criteria, Printing Options, and Aging Options. We're going to start with Report Options. The first section is how do you want to sort the results. To the right of an order by, if you click on the drop down, you can choose supplier, location, or class. We're going to go ahead and select supplier for this example. The next section is store options. To the right of store option, if you click on the drop down, you have separate stores, combined stores, compare stores, and store summary. If you are a single store operation, you're always going to choose separate stores. If you are multiple stores, you can choose between any of these. If you want to print out store 1, for example, and then after store 1's done, then store 2, store 3, etc., you'll do separate stores. If you want to combine the figures for your stores, so you'd be combining the stores, you do combined stores. If you want to compare stores, where it will show you the SKU and it will show you the on-hand or whatever your selections are for store 1, then store 2, store 3, store 4, all together for that SKU, then you'll do compare stores, or you can just choose a store summary. We're going to go ahead and do separate stores for this example. Then we have select which inventory items. If you want to look at all your items, you'll leave it at the default of all items. If you click on the drop down, you have other options such as only short items, only items that are critical, only items that are on order, only items with a negative on-hand quantity, only items with models, only items over models, and only items with less than so many number sizes on hand. Only short items and only items that are critical are designed if you use the model quantities. So only short items if you have something on hand and something for the model. For example, if your model was 2 for a size and you only had 1 on hand, it would consider that short. It doesn't look at your on order on the only short items. For only items that are critical, if you had 2 for the model and you had 1 for the on hand, but you had 1 on order, it would not consider that critical. But if you had 2 for the model and 1 for the on hand and nothing on order, it would consider that critical as being an item that you need to order. So critical looks at your on hands, your models, and your on orders. Short items looks at your on hands and your models. Then we have only items that are on order. If you just specifically want to look at stock that is just on order. We have only items with a negative on-hand quantity. So if your inventory shows a negative, maybe you sold something that you hadn't received, so it didn't have any stock on hand, but you sold it, and it generates a negative. There are times that you definitely want to run this report to see what your negatives are, so you can go take an inventory and fix those negatives, because you want your reports to be accurate. We have only items with models, so if you wanted to look at all of your SKUs that have model quantities, maybe you needed to look every quarter to see if you needed to increase those models or decrease those models, then you could see that just with the only items with models. And then we have only items over models. So if you have a model quantity of 2, but your on hand is 3, you want to know what styles you are stocked over what you should, what your desired level is going to be. So you can quick get a report of only items that are over model. So you can look at that, and if you have multiple stores, maybe you need to get them transferred into, a different store that is selling those well. And then we have only items with less than number sizes on hand. This helps you, for example, if you have a SKU with a size run, you ordered it in a full size run in the beginning, but maybe now you only have a size 7 and a size 13 on hand. You have no other sizes on hand. So that lets you know the styles that you just have a couple sizes on hand. So if you wanted to look at anything under 2 sizes on hand, you could do that, and you could know if you need to mark those down, transfer those out into a different store that's selling them better, do what you have to do to get rid of those. You can monitor this way through this only items with less than number sizes on hand. For this report, this example, we're going to choose all items. Then we have how do you want to value your inventory? Do I want to look at what my on hand is as of today, yesterday, last day of previous month, last day of previous year, last day of previous season, or a specific date? For this report, I'm going to look at what my on hand is as of today. Then we have another option, show only SKUs with sales in. So you can click on the drop down if you want to, and if you only want a report of SKUs that you've sold, maybe week to date, previous week, you have all these different options to choose from. Maybe you're coming in after the weekend and you want to know just SKUs that you've sold this last weekend. Then you can do that just by choosing selected dates and putting that date range in, or week to date, or the previous week, month to date, etc. Any of these selections. If you don't want to look at that and you want to look at everything, you can just leave it at none. Then we have the Report Criteria tab. This is where you can make different selections based on suppliers or classes or colors or SKUs. So we have by store and by store state. If you're at the top level running this report, you will see these fields. If you are at that store level, say for example store 1, you will not see the by store or by store state fields. You have by supplier, by class, by color, by location, by SKU, by primary grid, by secondary grid. These are your size grids here. If you have any product custom entries, you'll have this field where you'll have those selections. And then if we scroll down to pricing, we have checkboxes here where we can include only SKUs at retail price as of today, include only SKUs at markdown price as of today, include only SKUs with perks as of today. So we can really narrow down and tailor this report how we want. So if I wanted to just look at a particular supplier, I could go to the by supplier and put in that supplier's code, and it would just give me a stock status report for that supplier. I could do it by class, I could do it by a particular SKU or SKUs, so I can really narrow down exactly what I want. I can also exclude information. If I wanted to look at everything but, say, New Balance, I could put in the New Balance code. I could click on the exclude checkbox, and that would print out everything but the New Balance supplier. In this example, I'm just going to leave everything blank, which would be everything.